President Trump wants to carry out the largest deportation in U.S. history, and ICE arrests have begun across the country. For a look at the local impact, we're joined by immigration reporter Giulia McDonnell Nieto. Welcome, Giulia.
Thanks for having me, Jasmine.
So, Giulia, the Trump administration expanded the definition for who is eligible for deportation. So who is at risk?
So the Trump administration is still prioritizing violent criminals, as they've said. However, they have said that other folks who don't have authorization to be in the U.S. may be swept up in these enforcement actions. In Massachusetts specifically, a memo went out last week which expanded the definition of who could be targeted for deportation, which could include many folks who entered the country legally through something called humanitarian parole. Many of the recently arrived migrants to Massachusetts who came here in the past few years entered through this legal avenue and are working and living in the country legally. This means, though, that if they haven't applied for another status like asylum or temporary protected status, it's possible that they could be targeted for deportation in coming months.
So have you heard what is happening on the ground from them or their families or advocates?
So many immigrant families in Massachusetts that I've heard from are really scared right now. Some have told advocates that they're not going to drop their kids off from school, that they're not going to go pick their kids up, that they're even worried to go to the grocery store. So advocates are really focusing on holding Know Your Rights trainings and other community meetings so that these people know, what their rights are if ICE happens to be in the area or if they happen to have any contact with ICE.
And has there been a response from Beacon Hill on this?
Governor Healy has said many times that she does support the deportation of people who are violent criminals, but does not support the deportation and targeting of undocumented families who have been living here for years, working here, and have kept their head down and not had any contact with the criminal justice system. So, she supports the deportation of a certain segment of the population, as many do, but not of folks who have been longtime Massachusetts residents and are just working hard to build a better life here.
What are you watching for in the second week of the crackdown?
We're watching for a lot of things, but we did see this weekend that ICE ramped up arrests in cities like Chicago and Austin. So, we're going to be watching for any ICE activity here in the Boston area, and also how immigrant communities are feeling and any more memos or executive actions that might be undertaken by the Trump administration that could affect local residents. We'll definitely be reporting on and explaining how these could impact immigrant communities here in Massachusetts.
Immigration reporter Giulia McDonnell Nieto, thank you.
Thanks so much.
For daily access to Boston Globe Today, all segments and episodes are available on demand in the Boston Globe app by clicking Watch.